Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be doing my out-of-box review for the non-grade 1/100 scale Launcher Strike Gundam. Now, the first thing you're probably going to be able to tell is that obviously this is not the Launcher Strike Gundam, this is just the Strike Gundam without the launcher pack. I'll get to that in a minute when we talk about the accessories. I just want to talk about just the base kit first. So let me give you a look around here. Also, just want to say another big thank you to my friend Alex who loaned me this kit to share with you guys. So thanks, Alex, for that. And I'm noticing there a big nub mark on the arm piece. I forgot to take that off. I'll get to that here in just a minute. Just snapped this up real quick because I wanted to share this with you guys. Some people had requested to see more older kits and things like that. So this is a pretty old one, a kit from 2003. Before we had the Master Grade, we had this. So if you wanted a 1/100 scale Strike Gundam, you had a few different options in the non-grade 1/100 scale line. So it's not a bad looking kit. There's some pretty cool details on there. The color separation is really not bad at all. There's pretty much all of our colors are represented here. There's going to be some areas where we're gonna need to drop in some grays, like in the vents and stuff, around the waist section, things like that, and the head as well. But for the most part, most of our colors are represented here pretty well enough. So that's pretty good. Now let's go ahead and take a closer look at the kit, and I want to show you guys a little bit about the articulation. Alright, so here's a close-up look here at the head. We've got if you remember from the unboxing, the eyes is actually two separate stickers for the eyes. It's not one sticker. And we have a blue sticker up there for the camera as well. The yellow piece for the eyes, the eyepiece is actually yellow, so you could just drop the black paint around there and then just keep the eyes yellow. That yellow piece feeds up to the camera as well, so the camera would be yellow if you didn't use that sticker. Okay, we have our two different pieces for the V-fin, neither of which have the safety flag on there, so you don't have to worry about taking that off. You would probably want to sharpen that up a little bit. The V-fin's not very sharp at the end. It's still like a little bit large, so maybe you just want to sharpen that up a little bit. But the head is just on a ball joint, so it's going to go up about like that, down like that, and then kind of off to the side, whatever if you need. The waist section, there's really not going to be any movement there at all except for rotating, and even rotating you're only going to get about that much, so it's like a 45-degree to either side. In the shoulders, these are kind of weird. I don't think they're meant to be sort of ratcheted, but just due to the design, they kind of have like two angles that you can angle these at, just the way the parts fit together in like this down angle, and it's kind of stuck there. Or when you move it up, then it gets kind of stuck there. So, and then I think you can move it up even more. It's going to be able to move out about that much. The shoulder armor should move freely from the arm, so you can see like that, but it's just basically rotating as it's connected to the top of the arm there. The arm does rotate around here at the top, and then it looks like a double joint there in the elbow, but it's just a single joint, so you're only going to get about 90 degrees there in the elbow. The wrist is just a ball joint. The front skirts are separated already, so you don't have to separate them. Those are just already separated like that. The back skirt is nothing, it's just fixed and nothing opens or anything like that. Obviously nothing on the backpack either. Side skirts are kind of interesting though. These are just plugged in on a peg into a polycap, so they're going to rotate and move up and down like so. These do open up, and inside we have our Schneiders, basically the folded up version of our knives. We have the unfolded version as well, but it's kind of cool that we just have that detail of the folded up version inside of there. Just if you wanted to have some pose where he's kind of reaching for that or something, that's kind of cool. So that opens up there. In the legs, these are just connected by a ball joint, so they're not going to rotate, but you are going to get a little bit of side-to-side movement out like that. It's enough, I think. The knees do have a double joint, but you're only going to be able to get about that much, more than 90 degrees, so that's good, and I think it's probably enough. The legs are going to be able to come up about that high, which I think is pretty good, just for a 1/100 scale non-grade kits. It's not bad at all. The ankles as well are going to move. They're going to rock side to side because these are connected here at the top, just plugged in by a peg, and then connected to the foot by a ball joint. So they're going to move around on that ball joint down about that far, so nice and far down. One thing about these kits, all the kits in this series, was that the feet are pretty goofy, very wide, goofy looking feet, I think, so doing some resculpting on the feet would definitely help the look of this kit quite a bit, I think. You can see under the foot we've got full detail there, so no hollow spaces. And that is going to be just about it for our articulation. So yeah, the kit in general has some kind of odd proportions. I think the Master Grade is definitely a much nicer looking 1/100 scale kit, but it depends on what you want. This one is obviously cheaper as well. And maybe if you wanted a little bit more kind of retro look for the kit or something, maybe you prefer the look of this one, then, you know, you can go for this. So, let's talk about the accessories. I mentioned the Schneider knives, so of course we have those. We have 2 of these. They're going to look like this, just all molded in gray. Really simple, and yeah, we've got 2 of these. These will just fit in the hand, no problem. And speaking of hands, we've just got 2 holding hands there on the kit, but then we do have a third hand. And the difference with this hand, the shape is basically the same, but this one has a peg inside, so for holding the weapons, this one is going to be useful for the big gun, not for the regular beam rifle. We'll take a look at that in a minute. So we do have a third hand. We also, of course, have our 1/20 scale Kira Yamato figure. So there's that. The backpack doesn't really fit on straight. I think it's going to have to maybe remove the peg inside. See, it's just plugged on to this one plug there, and I think it's molded a little bit off center. So maybe just going to remove that and then just glue the backpack in because fitting onto that peg, it's not quite straight. Then it's honestly a little bit strange. We do have 2 beam sabers and beam saber handles, but nowhere to plug the handles onto the kit. Obviously these should be plugged onto the AL strike pack, but we don't have that. So, but we still have these. So I mean, it's kind of nice, but if you want to keep a cannon, obviously these aren't really going to be doing much with that kit as it is. Then we have our shield, which is just pretty nice. It's 1, 2, 3 yellow parts and the red part on top, and then this white part is a separate part here as well. So pretty good separation there. On the back we have our plug, which you can choose whether you want to have it plugged onto the back of the arm or the side of the arm. I prefer to keep it on the side of the arm. And then the handle, which you probably don't need to use at all, but if you want to use, you can see we have 3 different positions you can plug that in, high, medium, and low positions, so you can choose what you want to do with that, and you can have them holding it if you want, or you could probably just do without this handle if you want. Then we have our just regular beam rifle. I quite like the design of these strikes, beam rifle as well as the Astray, so the series did have some pretty nice looking just standard beam rifles, I think. No stickers or anything on this, it's just as is. The secondary handle does move though, side to side. So that's going to be the only point of articulation on that. Otherwise, it's just relatively simple. Nice that it's included though. And then, of course, we have our parts for the launcher pack. The parts going on the shoulder and the part that's going on the back with the giant cannon. So let me just show you the part that's going on the shoulder first. This yellow on the top of this fin and the yellow on the top of bottom of this fin is stickers. So that's 1, 2 big stickers for there. Otherwise, all these colors here you're seeing are parts. So yellow part there, red part inside there, red part going around under there, and like that. So this is just going to come apart pretty easily to attach onto the shoulder. So we'll do that here in a moment. Then the backpack, this backpack part is very, very simple. It's just this gray piece, it's just a peg that just plugs onto the backpack. And then we have this mechanical arm here that's connected to our actual gun. We can see this one does have a blue sticker inside there for the camera, a yellow piece here and here, a red piece inside the barrel part. The secondary handle is able to move side to side like that, so if you wanted to have it holding on the handle here, you can do that. If you want to have it holding on this vertical handle on that side, you can push it out that way. That's pretty cool. This main handle doesn't move at all. So that's that. Let me get this connected onto the strike, and we'll see how this is going to look. So the backpack part just going to pop on there like that. Simple enough. And then the shoulder is going to come apart. We'll drop this center part down onto there first, then put the back and front piece on like that, and there we go. Now we're all connected up as the Launcher Strike. Now, Up under the crotch, you'll notice there's no place to plug any action base, so if you want to put this on an action base, you'll just have to use one of the action base 1 connectors with the kind of fork connector. So let me grab one of those and we'll see how it goes. So here we can see it on action base all loaded up, and yeah, it's pretty cool. It's going to be able to hold most of its stuff. Obviously it can't hold the beam sabers and daggers at the same time as these other weapons, and the shield of course, but it is pretty cool that we can hold all of this stuff on there. It is a pretty cool looking kit. Now I don't have a master grade strike to compare this to, but I do have a buster, so I'll get that out here in just a minute. But also just want to say, of course, obviously with this being a little bit of an older kit, there are going to be some seam lines to point out to you guys, but in all honesty, really not that many. The only seam lines that you're really going to have to worry about are going to be here on the leg, front and back of the lower leg, and front and back of the thigh. This is really going to be the only seam lines that we're going to have to worry about on this kit, so really quite minimal for a kit that's now 13 years old. So it's really not too bad. Of course on the weapons there's going to be some seams there, of course, but that is going to be pretty much without saying for any like older 1/100 scale or even modern high grades. Seams on like things like beam rifles and then on that cannon would be pretty expected, so that shouldn't come as too much of a surprise. So here is just a quick comparison. You can compare this with the master grade Buster Gundam. Obviously going to be quite a difference in the proportions. You can see there, especially there in the feet and the legs. The master grades, the legs and feet were definitely slimmed down. I think is a much more sleek look for the master grade series. The master grades are also a little bit taller there. You can see the Buster is going to be not quite a full centimeter taller, but maybe close to that. He's definitely got some height on the old 1/100 scale. But you can see these two, despite those differences, and obviously the difference in the level of detail as well, and the parts separation with the master grade, they do still look actually relatively well together, just with them both being these kind of giant cannon-toting Gundams. So it's, yeah, not a bad combination actually. One thing that I am finding out while posing the kit is that a couple parts on the backpack, especially the cannon part, are a little bit loose. The mechanical arm is not really the strongest thing. I think it's meant to just basically connect that cannon to the backpack. It doesn't really do the best job of like actually supporting it up there. So as I've got it now, you know, it's up there, but the ball joint, especially where the mechanical arm plugs into the backpack, is a little bit loose, so that's kind of sagging a bit here and there. So if you wanted to keep it in some sort of pose like this or something for a long time, I would expect that to start to sag after a while. The other thing is the tip of the cannon. The tip of that cannon keeps falling out, so I had to just stick, of course the obvious solution would be to paint, but, I'm sorry, paint or glue, but since this is not my kit, and I'm going to be giving this back to Alex, so I'm sure he's going to want to paint that, and so I don't want to glue anything, so just stuck a little bit of tape on there for the moment, just a little temporary solution. I tried some sticky tack, but that didn't really quite work, so a little bit of tape on there will do the job. Anyway, you can see a nice big beam saber, although, like I said, it shouldn't actually have a beam saber with this pack. It still does make for a pretty good look there with the shield as well. I personally really do like the look of the the Strike Gundam shield, so I like to use it pretty much as possible. But of course, what you really want to see is that giant cannon. So let's get that thing out. Now, as for any kit with such a big two-handed grip weapon like this, so similar to the Buster Gundam as well, it's not really the easiest thing to get posed up. I think especially when you have to close the hand, the right hand, which is just on that secondary handle, is fine. That just drops onto the secondary handle, but the main handle here, the left hand, where you have to close the hand around that handle there, you have to open up the hand. Easiest thing to do is to disattach the cannon from the backpack, then put the hand on the handle, then connect the mechanical arm back to the backpack is the easiest way. Even still, it's not the most easy thing to maneuver around. You kind of have to, because the arm only bends 90 degrees and you don't really have all of the articulation of a master grade, it is a little bit tricky to get everything moving in the right direction, and you are pretty limited as to the poses that you can do with this, especially if you want to have a two-handed grip. This being pretty much the only pose that you can do. I mean, of course you can switch around the legs and head or whatever, however you want to do it. If you wanted to have like a standing pose like what it shows here in the manual, something like that, you could probably do that as well. But if you wanted to have an aerial pose like this, holding two hands, you are going to be limited to pretty much just this pose. But that's going to pretty much do it for my review. So I hope this was interesting, helpful for you guys. Maybe if you are interested in looking at a maybe cheaper or older option for a 1/100 scale Launcher Strike Gundam. These sometimes can be a little bit difficult to find just because Bandai is obviously not making as much of them as they used to. But, you know, maybe if this is something that you do want to search out, then, you know, maybe you are liking what you see. I don't know. Anyway, so thank you guys for watching. If you have any other questions or comments, please leave those down below. What do you think of the kit? Is this something that, you know, you're going to want to look for, or are you just totally disgusted by these outdated aspects of the kit and there's no way you'd buy this over the master grade? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I'm interested to hear it, and I'll see you guys in the next review. Bye bye.